What's up, guys? Hope you're having a good day today. My name is Lily Pierce. I'm a lay servant in the United Methodist Church, and I have a disability called dyslexia that does affect my speech, as you've likely already noticed. And as you may notice, if you have been watching me, it is a different background from usual. Not completely, but I've just got the plants more visible now, and I'm using a ring light, and you'll see in my latest vlog that Garth accidentally broke my ring light, but it is actually still usable. It's just I've got it jerry-rigged in a way, so let's hope that this goes decently. Also, the light is bright, and sometimes I can't tell if I'm looking at the camera lens, so sorry if my eyes are not focused as much as usual. So in other news, we are also not going to be doing plant of the day anymore, but it's for a good reason. It's because I am starting a second channel completely devoted to my love and obsession of plants. So I'll have a link for that down in the description box, and maybe I'll throw a name up here, and go follow that if you want to see more of my planting chat. By the way, Garth said I look like a ninja today, and I'm down with that. So today with Ninja Lily, we're going to talk about regrets from the past. I thought it'd be an interesting subject to explore. Of course, as they say, YOLO. And maybe it's silly to have regrets in life because first off, you can't change the past, obviously. Second off, you don't know if you'd be who you are today if you didn't have bad and hard things that you went through in the past or bad and hard decisions that you had to make. But I think it's a fun topic for a video because it opens up the floor for me to tell you some stories of my past, tell you about things that I wish I could do over, things that I wish I could undo, and of course, extremely cringy things that I've done. And who doesn't love to hear about other people's cringe? So to kick off our list, we have number 1. Falling down in an alt-right wormhole and staying at the bottom of that for a couple years. Dark times, boys, dark times. Number 2, being ashamed of / hiding my disability. When you get to that don't give a crap stage in life, and of course that comes at different times for different people, but when you do get to that point in life, you realize the fears and anxieties that you had about what people would think about you when you were younger are so trivial and silly. And when it comes to something that sets you apart, like if, you know, me, I have a disability, or maybe if you were albino, or you had a gray streak in your hair, or just whatever that makes you different from other people, you have 2 options. Number 1, you can be filled with shame and super self-conscious about it. Or number 2, you can have a totally kick-ass attitude and own it. The former was me in high school and the first part of college. But when I had to transition to a walker around the age of 21 or 22, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, I'm gonna be that cute girl with a disability. I'm just gonna wear it like a badge of honor. I am who I am. Love it or leave it, baby. This is the first picture that I ever posted on social media in which I was blatantly upfront about having a disability. I'm in a wheelchair in that photo because I was using a walker, but I would use that wheelchair sometimes when I was out and about doing something that involved a lot of walking. Anyways, it was interesting and amusing that people I'd actually met in person already were asking, why are you in a wheelchair? Because I'd often seen them only at parties and they just thought that I was hammered all the time. So anyway, posted that photo and the rest is history. Number 3, sticking out relationships for too long. Let's get vulnerable, guys. I've always had a problem with completely wrapping myself up into my romantic relationships. And I mean completely. Throughout my life, I've not really had a lot of friends. And when I would date someone, their friends would become my friends. And I essentially would assimilate my life into theirs. And the reasons that I am that way or that I was that way are kind of complex. Just speculating, I think it's a combination of the fact that number 1, as I was transitioning from elementary to middle school, which is a big shift. My best friend from elementary school, who I stuck to like glue for the entire time that we were growing up, moved halfway across the nation. So I was at a new school where I really didn't know anyone, and on top of those things, my FA symptoms had just started to appear. You know, I was 90% normal, but there was that 10% where there was just a little bit something off about my coordination and my walking, and obviously that would get worse and worse over the years. And fast forward a couple years, once again, when I jumped from middle school to high school, I was going to a school where I didn't know that many people. And on top of that, I was a teenage girl. I had acne and braces and a flat chest. By the way, being a late bloomer is a real bummer. And of course, meanwhile, my FA is getting worse and worse, more and more visible, harder and harder to hide from the people around me. So for all those reasons, the insecurity was real. So this habit of getting consumed in my romantic relationships, it started with my high school sweetheart, and it basically continued into every significant relationship that I've had up until now. Even now, Garth has more friends than I do, and I choose to believe that his friends are kind of my friends too. I had a conversation with someone a long time ago, and we were talking about how we often feel like chameleons. We just kind of blend in and adapt to wherever and whatever situation we're in, whatever kind of people we're around. And upon reflection, I think that I'll always be that way, at least, to some extent, because I'm a people pleaser. But in the last few years, I really have tried to carve out my own identity. And I've made a lot of connections through the United Methodist Church and United Methodist Women. And I have a couple of really good friends. And especially as you get older, with friends, it's quality over quantity. So I'm okay with having just those couple of friends. But anyways, now that I've went on that tangent and broadcast to the entire internet how pathetic I really am, let's get back to the actual point of sticking in relationships for too long. Because I was putting so much weight into these relationships. It's the guy I was dating, but it's also his social network, his friend group, his family, all of it. Putting so much weight into the relationship would make me want to stick things out when I should have just let it go. Perhaps some heartache was inevitable, but I think that I prolonged and exacerbated that heartache that was gonna come with breaking up by trying for too long to make things work when things were so obviously doomed to fail. So, kinda wish I hadn't been so pitiful. Kinda wish that some of my relationships had ended sooner and just differently from how they did. So anyway, that's 3 regrets I have about my past, and I can already think of a bunch more, so I guess this is gonna be a series. I guess I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, but hopefully it's entertaining to you to hear about them. And again, regrets are kind of silly. It's not like these things keep me up at night. I just like talking about myself, I guess. And who knows, maybe you can learn from my mistakes. Be bold, be brave, be who you are without apologies. Unless you're a toxic person who hurts people, then you might actually owe a few apologies. Love and respect yourself enough and have enough courage to end a romantic relationship when it's doomed to fail. And lastly, don't let the YouTube algorithm sweep you into a radical political movement. That's it for this time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for dropping by. Hope you'll subscribe and like this video. And otherwise, have a great day, and God bless you all.